Volcanoes are not something you would expect to see in Brazil, and yet here are these photographs showing the site of the nation's last volcanic eruption. What you are looking at is the eroded interior of an originally 1 kilometer wide cinder cone that may have once looked like this, which produced a lengthy eruption 170,000 years ago. This cone, known as Vulcão de Paradão, is the youngest feature on Trindade Island, which itself is situated 1,150 kilometers east of the city of Vitória. While mainland Brazil has not been the site of any volcanism for at least 10 million years, at least 3 of its islands were active for a period in the time since. All 3 of these islands comprise eastward trending volcanic chains which get progressively younger in that direction, with the Noronha chain in the north and the Vitória Trindade chain to the south. Both of these chains might seem to be perfectly described by a typical hotspot in the mantle, but there's a notable problem. Since during the last 40 million years, the South American plate has been moving to the west-northwest, and placed igneous rocks should get older in that direction. And yet, both chains only head due west. While edge convection is the likely explanation behind the Noronha chain, there actually does seem to be a mantle plume responsible for recent volcanism on Trindade and Martin Vaz. This is why the chain of seamounts to its west get progressively older over time, with this hotspot likely having been active for around 80 million years. Initial eruptive activity at Trindade began first, likely around 4 million years ago, involving a series of fluidite and phonolite submarine eruptions at a depth of 4,500 meters or 14,763 feet below sea level. Over time, alkali-rich lavas built a 50-kilometer-wide edifice, and presumably around 3.5 million years ago, the volcano first rose above sea level. Numerous layers of volcanic ash and lavas then formed on top of one another, constructing an island elongated to the northwest. Several phonolite magma intrusions occurred during this period, many of which later erupted lava domes on the surface. However, in the several million years since, the surrounding weaker rocks erode away, leaving behind approximately a dozen towering volcanic necks which create distinctive structures on the island. The vast majority of the modern island shoreline and intermediate elevations were formed during this period by 2.8 million years ago. Following this, eruptive activity became more centralized and less explosive, causing numerous lava domes and flows to pile on top of one another to form the island's highest peaks in its center. Later, a magma storage area in the northwest of the modern island became exposed by eventual erosion, resulting in what today are the remnants of 3 radial dikes. A series of distinct but closely spaced vents then erupted after a 300,000-year-long pause, forming a series of cinder cone vents and strombolian eruptions that today have abundant exposed orangish-brown scoria present. An isolated eruptive center then formed on the middle eastern side of the island, following which eruptive activity ceased until 170,000 years ago. That marks when the 1,000-meter wide and 250-meter high Vulcão do Parado cinder cone erupted, with the edges of the cinder cone creating a series of short-lived alkali lava flows which then entered the ocean. Erosion later removed much of the existing ash present, creating an absurdly rugged landscape filled with many stunning volcanic necks. To the east, the Martin Vaz volcano was also active during the last 1 million years, although we do not have any samples from below sea level. As a result, our data is quite limited, although it does appear that everything above the water level formed between 1.2 million and 336,000 years ago. Eruptions which formed this island were seemingly less explosive, perhaps relating to a lower volatile content in the magma, despite the commonality of the viscous phonolite lava that was erupted. While today both volcanoes are extinct, unlike Martin Vaz, Trindade is permanently garrisoned by 32 Brazilian military personnel. As a final note, I would like to thank multiple Brazilian viewers in my audience who all suggested that I discuss these 2 volcanic islands.